The mission of this video is to change your perception of your website, really to help as much as possible increase your success. The first thing I want to talk about is your perception of how you see your website as opposed to how you would see it if you had a business on the high street. So what I've done here is I have created this picture and picked some great high street stores. We have the bakery, we have the shoe shop, we have Diesel, and in the middle here I've put one of our websites, which is an online security pack, and I've put the laptop there just so that you can see that this is the website. But I want to create the effect of how it might look on the high street. If you make this switch, your strategies and the way what you put energy into and money into in your website will change dramatically, and it will make it much easier for you. So let's imagine your business here is a high street store. You've rented a piece of property, you've painted it, decorated it, you've decked it out with your products. So now you want to think about the essential things that a shop would need if it was on the high street. So the first thing we need is I need people who can see my shop window. You see, your website here, it's digital, it's in cyberspace, it's not on the high street. And on the high street, you would have people walking along the front here, but you don't have that happening. And just because you're excited about your business and know all about the product and very fired up, it doesn't mean that everybody else knows about it as much as you think they do. So first of all, I need people to actually be looking at my shop window. The second thing is I need to be able to sell them the product once they come in. So even if I can get people inside my website here, that's just the front door, the front window. Once they get in, I have to, just like these stores here, I have to be able to sell the product effectively the way they do. And the third thing is there must be a shop assistant there every day. Just because this is online, it still functions in the same way as a business. There must be a shop assistant in there assisting people, giving direction, answering their questions. This is really important, and this is something that we forget about when we're doing our business. So when considering your own website, think about how easy is it to find the shop assistant and pay. Okay, it's very easy on the high street. You can spot them straight away in most cases. But if you're putting content and products on your site, the call to action, the buy button or the information button, that must be very close to hand. Don't expect people to be searching all over for your page looking for information. Those days are gone. That might have happened 6-7 years ago, but that doesn't happen anymore. People will just simply click away. They don't have the patience anymore. So test your own website, test your own pages where you have products, or where you have invitations or videos and you want them to actually take action. See how easy it is to find the information and the buttons. And as far as your shop assistant goes, have you tested your payment process? Have you actually been on your site and tried buying things just to see the whole process through? Do you get follow-up emails? Do you get confirmation? Do the links actually work? These are things that are sending your customers away, and you're working so hard to earn these in the first place. So think about those three things, because they could save you a lot of time and money right from the get-go. So let's look at the next slide. This is really important. This is probably one of the most important ways that you can improve the effectiveness and the profit in your website. It's a place where you're losing money. And the reason is because you're focusing on the process too much as opposed to what the actual product is. So if you look at this website here, okay, the question is, when you look in my window, can you feel the experience that I'm selling? You see, when we go digital, we start talking about the process. We start talking about the how. We start talking about everything, like how qualified we are, how long we've been doing this. If you look at all these high street stores, nobody is talking about their qualifications, how long they've been there. They're not actually talking about the product, but what they're doing is they're setting up the scene in such a way that you can actually feel an experience, okay? In the bakery here, they're setting up the cakes in the front window so you actually salivate when you're passing. You can actually taste them. Here in the shoe shop, they're putting an array of all different shoes to match all different markets of people, so that people can actually see them straight away. They can put outfits together, see them wearing the shoes. They also can see inside quickly all the other things, so it's more attractive to go in there. And the same with Diesel. They just create a whole lifestyle talking about or creating the effect of what a person would be wearing, what kind of a lifestyle they would be in. There's no text at all here. It's just immediately a feeling. It connects with the customer in a fast way so they can identify themselves as being a customer for that product. This has to happen in a few seconds. Just as if you were walking along the high street here, the time you've got to pass this shoe shop is a few seconds, so it has to be powerful. But it's the same with the website. People are only going to linger a few seconds here as well. So this has to create the same feeling. So the point is that this is a feeling. Your product is a feeling. We're not buying things like a television. We're buying the feeling of the journey, whether it's an action movie, whether it's a romantic movie. We're sitting on the sofa, we're feeling relaxed, we're eating something. It's actually an experience. We're not buying the TV. So the question is, if you go to your front page of your website and you just look here, down to the fold where it meets the bottom of the laptop, and you look at that and say, can I immediately feel something? Do I know what people are going to pay me money for? This is very important. And it's important to design this properly as effectively as you can, straight away. Now what I've done here is I've created this effect, and I've superimposed this security pack into a high street store, so you could get the effect of what I'm talking about. You see, if this was on a high street store, the product security, online security, is boring. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody likes it except the IT geeks. So if I have pictures of IT packs here and lots of text, nobody will be interested. So what I've done here is I've created this woman here. So I'm saying, hackers, out of my shop. Okay, is your business secure? So I'm telling them straight away, hackers exist. Is your business secure? If not, this is for you. And I'm asking the question so they can identify themselves fast. I've created a form of hacker here, so I've made something more real, and I would have him as this big sculpture here, if you like. So he's attracting people and pulling them in. They're curious, what is that? I've also created him as a cartoon because I'm letting the customer know that I understand that IT and security is technical, it's boring. I'm trying to make light of it to help them to understand, listen, let's make this subject as light as possible so that you actually take action on this, because security is important these days. I've created the woman here is sitting there peaceful. She's working away with her laptop and she has this padlock on, which is suggesting it's creating the whole experience. I am safe, I'm secure. You can hack away as much as you like, but I am safe. So I'm creating a feeling. And that's what I would do on the high street here. All I would have done here is put the most essential questions, if you like, to help people. And if I go to the website here, you will see that these are these questions here. A security pack, what exactly is it? You know, I'm asking non-IT questions. Doesn't WordPress have its own backup? That's an important question. What are the chances if my site gets hacked? What's going to happen? These are just a few essential questions that I'm putting there. That it's not IT, it's not serious, but it's helping the customer understand if the product is for them. So the most important thing for you to think about really is to think about your product and always think about what is the experience, what is the feeling, the thing that I'm going to change about a person's life that they would give me money for. And that's really what your product is. And then try to demonstrate it with images as much as possible. The reason is we're living in a new world. People now think with their eyes. they are more reluctant to read text anymore. They're too busy, they're too impatient. So think about images as much as possible. So if we go to our next one, so now our shop is up and ready for customers. Now the question is, why aren't they coming in? Okay? And the problem is that you are invisible. You see, just because you know about your website, you know about your business, and you're excited about it, it doesn't mean that anybody's going to find you unless you are actually sending them to your website. Not like the high street where you're positioned for people to be passing. This is not happening. You're invisible. So the next thing you need to do is you need to make people aware of your shop or your website. And of course, there are endless ways of doing this, just as there would be if you was on a high street. There's many ways of getting people to see your shop, to promote your products. We can start with, there's Google search, there are newsletters, there are social networking pages, Google ads, videos, flyers, recommendations, many options for you to think about and use. Now let's just focus on Google as a starter. Now Google is like, imagine that you're placed in this high street set of shops. It's like the shop assistant at the end of the street. So customers, let's say customers are coming in here. Google is saying, what do you want? And the customer is saying, well, I want shoes and I want them blue and I want evening shoes. So then Google is then deciding, of these shops here, which is the whole of the internet, which is the one that is most relevant to the customer's request. So it will say, are the shoes here? No. Is there blue here? So it will seek out the most effective, or the shop that is really serving the customer the best. And that's how Google prioritizes things. It says what is the most useful for the customer. So Google, with its algorithms, will ask certain things like these questions here. Does the shop appear busy? Okay, so just like the high street, Google can sense, based on the activity there, is there somebody actually inside this shop maintaining the shop? It will ask the question, does the words that the customer asks for match the words in the shop? So if I'm looking for security and I see the word security there and it's on all of my pages, then Google considers it relevant. And the more relevant, obviously the higher up it will place your website. How many people are actually buying as opposed to just visiting? So Google is going to see how many people actually go up to your shop, go inside, but if they're leaving constantly without buying anything, then it's saying to the algorithms, this shop is not really helping the customer as much as it could. It can get them into the store, but it can't convert them into a customer. So there is something missing. Either there's not enough information, maybe they can't find things, many different things, but that's a big issue. It might ask the question, is the shop keeping up with customers' needs? Okay, so that's another thing that the algorithms can keep up with. For example, is your shop responsive? Which means if you have a WordPress theme, it means can your shop be easily seen on all the gadgets, laptops, PCs, mobile phones, or the different size of mobile phones? If it does, it means that you are keeping up with the customer's needs. You are thinking about the customer. And if you are thinking about the customer, it's relevant, you're keeping the customer happy. So in effect, you get kudos for that. So the other thing you need to know about Google is to learn how to optimize your site. Now the thing about Google, if you're using Google as a way of getting your site visibility, then you have to focus on what we call SEO. SEO is search engine optimization. Now there's two things you can do. You can either learn to do this yourself, or you can actually hire someone to do this SEO for you. But whichever way you do this, you need to understand that for Google to rank you highly, there must be activity on your site. In other words, your site must be active. You can't just put a website up there. As far as Google is concerned, if you just put a shop up there and there's no activity, there's no movement in the shop, there's nobody moving around, nobody putting new content on there, putting new products in, maybe referring customers to the products. It's the same as saying to Google, there's no shop assistant here. So if there's no shop assistant, then Google will say, well, it's not really going to help the customer. I can get them there, but I know they're going to be leaving straight away. So that's what SEO means, search engine optimization. It literally means using Google to help you get your website more visible on the search engines. And of course, the third option with Google is you can pay for Google Ads. You can set up your own images, you can use Google AdWords, and Google will run ads for you. Now, as a final point, I want to mention how you can use social networking to get the most out of the content that you're actually posting to your site. So for example, if you've got an article on your site or a video, there are many ways you can use that to keep getting traffic, but posing it in different ways so that you cover different markets, different ages, different lifestyles, so that you're not just posting one article and just having to start another article over and over and over. Because new content is important, but obviously you don't want to be writing new articles every time, and you want to capture people that maybe you didn't capture before. So here's a final tip on social networking. The first thing, and this is so important, that all content, whether it's an article, new products, invitations, goes on your website first before you talk about them on social media. And the reason is that Google is interested in unique content. So let's say you put a sentence on your site. If you then put it on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever, your website will get the credit and the juice for it first because it's unique. Once it goes on Facebook, it's not unique anymore. It's just sharing. So whatever you do, make sure whatever content, whatever information you want to share, it goes on your website first. Then you link that on your other social network sites.